When we get a dog, it becomes a member of our family. We love her and are ready to give her the best. But do we always understand our pets correctly? Do our ideas about raising a puppy correspond to modern standards? There are many myths surrounding every fact about dogs. So what do you believe when you are told something about your pet? The age of a dog by human standards. It is generally known that dogs age much faster than humans. And one of the common misconceptions is that 1 year of a pet's life is equal to 7 human years. It's a vague formula to imply that a 10-year-old dog is the same age as a 70-year-old man. This myth has been around since the 13th century. A waxy kitten grows and ages very quickly, but the 7-year or 3-year rule for cats is not accurate. In fact, there is no exact formula for comparing the ages of dogs and humans. After all, you need to take into account the weight, breed, and heredity. One of the most common myths about dogs is that dogs are daltonic. According to the American Kennel Club, dogs can see some colors, but the spectrum is limited compared to human vision. Dogs have dichromatic vision, meaning their eyes have only 2 types of cones that perceive colors. In humans, most other primates have 3 types of cones, and therefore they have trichromatic vision. You can't change the behavior that's in your genes. All behaviors, without exception, are a complex of genetically determined and educated behavior. It's just that in some cases you need to put in more effort and in others, less. But with the help of quality parenting, no matter what your genes are, you can achieve a lot anyway. You can't teach an old dog a new trick. It is possible and necessary to train a dog for commands, no matter what age it is. However, in the case of an adult dog, it will take more time and patience. If a dog is wagging its tail, it means it is friendly. Because of this widespread belief, unpleasant situations sometimes arise. The dog is wagging its tail, they are trying to stroke it, but for some reason it bites. People tend to think that wagging the tail indicates a friendly dog. However, this is not always the case. You need to pay attention to other signs. A dog that clearly wants to be stroked, in addition to wagging its tail, squats on its hind legs, puts its back up, spins like a top, and literally walks. If the dog's body is practically motionless and it only wags its tail, then most likely the animal is tense and can attack. In homes where several dogs live at once, it is necessary to maintain hierarchy by giving the dominant animals food, treats, and attention first, and then to those who occupy a subordinate position. To begin with, the boss should be the leader in this family, and the dog can be singled out, given food and affection first, when it behaves better and shows more obedience. By doing so, you will set an example for other dogs. The black mouth is definitely evil. Often, according to this principle, they choose a puppy for a chain, and then they are surprised that a born guard and defender fawns over strangers. This popular belief has nothing to do with reality, simply because the color of a dog's palate depends on the color of its coat and pigmentation, rather than turning black due to malice and bad temper. Dog playgrounds are completely safe for the health of dogs. Dog playgrounds are fun and comfortable for dogs to walk, but these are not particularly safe places. They are full of parasites such as blocks, ticks, and worms. They can be found in the feces of other dogs or in polluted water. Also, if a dog plays with its fellows during a walk, it can get goat damage and other injuries. These damages must be monitored or repaired in time. If the dog does not come into contact with other animals, it is possible not to vaccinate it. Not all existing vaccines are necessary for your dog. The set of mandatory vaccinations may vary depending on the area. However, for example, vaccinations against rabies, plague, enteritis, leptospirosis, any dog is needed, even if it is kept in an apartment and rarely on the street, since the risk of infection in this case is not excluded. Before vaccinating a dog, it is necessary to consult with a veterinarian. If the nose is dry, it means that the dog is sick. The humidity of a dog's nose is variable. During the day, it can be either dry, wet, warm, or cool. And it's not that the pet starts to get sick. Maybe he just got out from under the ice, disconnected from the battery or fan. If there are no other signs of ill health, you should not worry. But a wet nose is not a guarantee of well-being. Dogs, like their owners, may develop rhinitis. Diseases will be accompanied by behavioral changes, refusal of food, chondra, And in this case, despite the wet and cold nose, you should not postpone a visit to a specialist. A dog must give birth for health. It cannot be sterilized before that. Pregnancy and childbirth are not such a valuable contribution to a dog's health. Even with the health of pregnancy, the expectant mother's body is depleted. Add here the risks of difficult childbirth, cesarean section, multiple pregnancy. During this period, diseases that would not have woken up normally may become active in the network. In addition, pregnant women launch a kind of procreation program in the dog's body. The consequences are more likely to cause false pregnancies, hormonal disorders, pathology of the uterus and mammary glands of the dog. And no one has canceled the problem of putting puppies in good hands. So if you're only doing this for your health, don't. It is better to undergo a sterilization procedure, even if the dog has not given birth. Rabies vaccination can get you sick. In addition, the dog's teeth will deteriorate. This warning has come to us since the days when rabies vaccination was carried out with live vaccines, and isolated cases of the disease did occur. Ty's own vaccination was hard to bear. Currently, only safe vaccines based on inactivated viral rabies are used. This myth is so popular that many do not vaccinate their bull terriers, explaining that they have lived on the streets for centuries, which means their immunity will completely cope on its own. But this is not the case.